The Minotaur was imprisoned on the day he was born. He never saw sunlight. He never chose his body. Yet 14 young Athenians entered his prison and never returned. The world remembers Theseus as the hero who killed him. But the creature inside the labyrinth had another story. He was born from a god's punishment. He was hidden to protect a king's reputation. Then he was fed the children of another city. So who was the true monster of Crete? The answer begins with a white bull and a broken promise. Crete was one of the most powerful islands in Greek mythology. Its ruler was King Minos. But Minos did not inherit the throne without a struggle. His brothers challenged his right to rule. Minos claimed that the gods supported him. To prove it, he prayed to Poseidon. The king asked for a sign from the sea. He promised to sacrifice whatever creature Poseidon sent. The sea god answered. A magnificent white bull emerged from the water. It was stronger and more beautiful than any ordinary animal. The people saw the bull as proof of divine approval. Minos secured the throne. Then he broke his promise. The king could not surrender such a valuable creature. He placed the divine bull among his own herds. Then he sacrificed a lesser animal in its place. Minos believed Poseidon might accept the substitution. The god noticed immediately. Poseidon did not punish Minos by removing his crown. He attacked the king through his family. Minos was married to Queen Pasiphae. She was a daughter of the sun god Helios. Poseidon placed an unnatural desire within her. Pasiphae became obsessed with the white bull. The punishment was designed to humiliate Minos completely. But desire alone could not complete the god's revenge. Pasiphae needed someone capable of building the impossible. That person was Daedalus. Daedalus was the greatest inventor of his age. He understood architecture, sculpture, mechanics, and hidden structures. Pasiphae ordered him to construct a hollow wooden cow. It was covered with real animal hide. The device allowed her to approach the sacred bull. From that union, a child was born. The child had the body of a human. His head carried the features of a bull. The Greeks called him the Minotaur. His personal name was sometimes given as Asterion. That name means the starry one. It is a strangely beautiful name for a feared creature. The Minotaur was not born because of his own actions. He had made no promise to Poseidon. He had deceived no god. He had chosen neither his parents nor his appearance. But he became the living evidence of Minos's shame. The king needed the evidence to disappear. This is where the story becomes darker. The labyrinth was not created only to contain a monster. It was created to contain a royal secret. Minos commanded Daedalus to build an inescapable prison. The inventor designed a maze beneath the palace at Knossos. Its corridors turned back upon themselves. False passages led travelers deeper into darkness. The entrances and exits became impossible to remember. Even Daedalus reportedly struggled to understand the finished design. The Minotaur was placed at its center. There was no trial. There was no attempt to teach or understand him. The child simply vanished below the palace. As he grew, his strength and hunger grew with him. The palace above remained bright and prosperous. Below it, the hidden prince lived without sunlight. The labyrinth protected Minos from public humiliation. It did not protect anyone from the consequences. Those consequences eventually reached Athens. Minos had a human son named Androgeos. The young prince traveled to Athens and proved himself in competition. Ancient sources disagree about how he died. Some say jealous Athenians murdered him. Others say King Aegeus sent him against a dangerous bull. The bull killed Androgeos. Whatever the exact cause, Minos blamed Athens. He gathered his forces and demanded revenge. War and divine punishment weakened the Athenian people. Eventually, Athens submitted to Crete. Minos imposed a horrifying tribute. 7 young men and 7 young women were selected. They were sent across the sea to Crete. Then they were forced into the labyrinth. Traditions disagree about how often this happened. Some describe an annual sacrifice. Others place it every 3 or 9 years. But every version preserves the same terror. 14 families watched their children sail toward death. The victims entered the maze without weapons or directions. The Minotaur hunted them in the darkness. Athens paid for the death of Minos's human son. The payment fed the king's hidden son. The cruelty connected both children through blood and revenge. Then a new prince stepped into the story. His name was Theseus. Theseus was the son of Aegeus, king of Athens. Some traditions also named Poseidon as his divine father. He had already completed several dangerous adventures. He defeated criminals along the road to Athens. He proved himself through strength, courage, and intelligence. When the next tribute was chosen, Theseus joined the victims. Some versions say he volunteered. Others say Minos selected him personally. Theseus promised to kill the Minotaur. He would end the tribute and free Athens. His father feared that the mission was suicide. The tribute ship traditionally carried black sails. Aegeus gave Theseus a white sail for the return voyage. If Theseus survived, the crew must raise it. The white sail would announce victory before the ship arrived. The black sail would announce his death. The young Athenians reached Crete. There, Theseus attracted the attention of Princess Ariadne. She was the daughter of Minos and Pasiphae. That made her the Minotaur's half-sister. Ariadne fell in love with Theseus. She also understood the labyrinth better than any visitor. Killing the Minotaur would solve only half the problem. No hero could escape corridors he could not remember. Ariadne offered a simple answer to an impossible design. She gave Theseus a ball of thread. He tied one end near the entrance. Then he carried the thread deeper into the maze. Every turn unrolled another section behind him. The thread became a path back to life. In some versions, Ariadne also provided a sword. Other accounts say Theseus entered without a weapon. The doors closed behind the Athenians. Darkness swallowed them. Theseus moved toward the center. He followed sounds echoing through the stone passages. The Minotaur waited in the only world he had known. This was the confrontation promised by the myth. But it was not simply hero against monster. It was one royal son sent to kill another. Theseus had a family, a city, and a future. The Minotaur had only the prison built around him. When they finally met, the battle was violent. Ancient sources describe the killing differently. Some say Theseus used a sword. Others say he struck the creature with a club. One tradition says he killed the Minotaur with his hands. The struggle ended with the creature on the stone floor. The labyrinth became silent. Theseus had completed the heroic task. But victory still meant nothing without Ariadne's thread. He followed it through the twisting corridors. The surviving Athenians followed him. At last, they emerged beneath the open sky. The tribute had ended. The hidden son of Crete was dead. Theseus escaped the island with Ariadne. Then the story betrayed its own rescuer. During the voyage, they stopped on the island of Naxos. Theseus left Ariadne behind. Ancient traditions disagree about his reason. Some say he abandoned her deliberately. Some say the god Dionysus demanded her as his bride. Others suggest Theseus was forced away by divine command. Ariadne woke and watched the ship disappear. She had betrayed her father to save Theseus. She had given him the secret of the labyrinth. Now she was alone. Dionysus eventually found her in many versions. He made Ariadne his immortal wife. Her crown was placed among the stars. Theseus continued toward Athens. But another tragedy waited at sea. He forgot to replace the black sail. Some versions suggest grief distracted him. Others present it as a simple fatal mistake. King Aegeus watched from the coast. He saw the black sail approaching. He believed his son was dead. In despair, Aegeus threw himself into the sea. The waters later carried his name. Theseus returned as a victorious hero and grieving king. He had saved 14 lives. He had also lost Ariadne and caused his father's death. No one left the labyrinth without carrying its darkness. The Minotaur became one of mythology's greatest monsters. His image still represents violence hidden within civilization. The maze surrounding him became equally powerful. It represents confusion, secrecy, and the divided human mind. But the oldest story raises an uncomfortable question. Was the Minotaur evil from birth? The myths rarely allow him to speak. They describe his hunger, but not his thoughts. They show his violence, but not his childhood. He is introduced as a problem to be hidden. Then he becomes a problem to be killed. Minos broke his promise to Poseidon. Poseidon punished Pasiphae through unnatural desire. Daedalus built the device and the prison. Minos filled that prison with Athenian victims. Theseus entered and ended the cycle through violence. The Minotaur stood at the center of every decision. Yet he made almost none of them. Perhaps that is why the creature remains tragic. He was both killer and captive. He terrified innocent victims. He was also used by a king who feared shame. The labyrinth did not hide a simple beast. It hid the consequences of divine anger and human pride. Theseus killed the creature at its center. But he could not kill the pattern surrounding it. Promises were still broken. Women were still abandoned. Fathers still lost their children. Victory still demanded another victim. The Minotaur was born with the face of a monster. The people around him had ordinary human faces. Their choices created the labyrinth. Their choices filled it with blood. So who was the true monster of Crete?